The rain-slicked windshield blurred the world outside as I gripped the steering wheel, my heart pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. "This one's perfect," Sean said from the passenger seat, his voice a low rumble that cut through the storm. But when I turned, his eyes weren't on the house. They were on me, dark and hungry, like he'd been starving for something he couldn't name. In that split second, before the thunder cracked, I knew, tonight, we'd cross a line that neither of us could uncross. I slammed the car door harder than I meant to, the echo swallowed by the downpour as we dashed toward the colonial two-story on Elm Street, its wraparound porch dripping like a weeping widow. Seattle's November gloom had a way of making everything feel heavier, more inevitable, and as Sean's hand brushed mine, accidental, or so I told myself. Electricity shot up my arm, chasing away the chill. My name's Alex Harper, 28, freshly divorced from a life that never fit, and I'd come to this rainy corner of the Pacific Northwest chasing a fresh start. A job in tech, a vague dream of roots, and now this, a house tour with a realtor who looked like he'd stepped out of one of those late-night fantasies I never admitted to. Sean Whitaker was everything I wasn't: poised, effortlessly handsome, with that easy Midwestern charm polished by years in the cutthroat Seattle market. Mid-30s, salt and pepper at the temples, broad shoulders filling out a wool blazer like it was tailored by God himself. We'd met at the open house 2 days ago, where he'd handed me a flyer with a smile that lingered too long, his fingers grazing mine just enough to spark. "Call me if you want the VIP tour," he'd said, and damn if I hadn't dialed his number before the coffee in my hand even cooled. Now, fumbling with the key in the lock, water streaming down our faces, he laughed, a deep, genuine sound that made my stomach flip. "After you, Alex. Wouldn't want you catching pneumonia on my watch." The door swung open to a foyer that smelled of fresh paint and possibility, the kind of place where you could imagine hanging pictures of a life not yet lived. Hardwood floors gleamed under recessed lights, and a grand staircase curved upward like an invitation to secrets. We shook off the rain, and Sean peeled off his jacket, revealing a crisp white shirt clinging to his chest in the dampness. I tried not to stare, but failed miserably. "So, what sold you on this one?" he asked, leading me into the living room, his voice casual but his gaze anything but. "The porch," I admitted, following him, "reminds me of my grandparents' place in Ohio. Summers there, grilling burgers, fireflies at dusk. Feels safe, safe." The word hung between us, loaded. My ex, Mark, had shattered that illusion 2 years back, coming out as straight after a decade of half-truths, leaving me with a hollow apartment and a therapy bill that drained my savings. Seattle was my reset button. Sean nodded, leaning against the mantel of a stone fireplace that begged for a roaring blaze. "Safe's underrated. But sometimes, you gotta let a little chaos in." His eyes locked on mine, and the air thickened, charged like the storm outside. He stepped closer, close enough I could smell his cologne, cedar and rain, and when he reached out to tuck a wet strand of hair from my forehead, time stuttered. "Sean." My voice was a whisper, a warning, but my body betrayed me, leaning in. He didn't pull back. Instead, his thumb traced my jaw, rough callus against smooth skin, and then his lips were on mine, soft at first, tentative, like he was testing the waters of a riptide. I melted into it, hands fisting in his shirt, the taste of rain and want flooding my senses. It was fire in the foyer, passion igniting where polished oak met vulnerability. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, the house around us fading to irrelevance. "God, Alex," he murmured, breath hot against my ear. "I've wanted that since the open house. We didn't make it far." The living room became our undoing, couch springs creaking under hurried weight, shirts discarded in a trail like breadcrumbs to sin. His hands mapped my body with the precision of a man who knew blueprints by heart, every touch a revelation. I arched into him, whispering his name like a prayer, as the storm raged on, thunder masking our moans. It was raw, reckless, the kind of sex that strips you bare and leaves you reborn. Afterward, tangled in throw blankets that smelled faintly of vanilla, we lay there in the dim light filtering through bay windows. Sean's fingers traced lazy circles on my chest, and for the first time in years, the ache in my ribs eased. "This house," he said softly, "it's more than bricks. It's a story waiting to be written." I turned to him, heart swelling. "Then let's write it together." He smiled, but there was a shadow in it, a flicker I dismissed as post-rain melancholy. Little did I know, the plot twist was already penned. The next morning dawned gray but hopeful, coffee brewing in the kitchen we'd christened the night before. Sean had stayed, insisted, actually, claiming the guest room but ending up back in my arms by 3 a.m. We toured the rest of the house like lovers reclaiming territory. The eat-in kitchen with its sunlit nook, perfect for lazy brunches. The master suite upstairs, where a clawfoot tub promised bubble baths for two. By noon, I'd put in an offer, sight unseen on the fine print, because with Sean whispering approvals in my ear, how could I lose? He drove me back to my temporary Airbnb, hand on my thigh the whole way, radio humming indie folk that matched the buoyancy in my chest. "Dinner tonight?" he asked at the drop-off, leaning across the console for a kiss that tasted like tomorrow. "Only if you pick the wine," I teased, stealing one more before slipping out. The afternoon blurred into emails and unpacking, my mind replaying every gasp, every graze. I'd never fallen this fast. Hell, I'd never fallen at all after Mark. But Sean felt like home, like the porch I'd coveted, sturdy and warm. Evening found me at a waterfront bistro in Belltown, fairy lights twinkling against the Puget Sound's inky ripple. Sean arrived 15 minutes late, windswept and apologetic, a bottle of Cabernet under one arm. "Traffic," he lied smoothly, but his eyes danced with secrets. We ordered oysters and steak, feet entwined under the table, conversation flowing like the wine, his divorce 5 years back, the grind of real estate, a shared love for Springsteen and spontaneous road trips. As dessert arrived, chocolate lava cake oozing like our confessions, he took my hand. "Alex, last night, it wasn't just the house. You're under my skin." I squeezed back, pulse racing. "Ditto. Feels like fate, doesn't it?" His laugh was rich, but again, that shadow. "Fate's a tricky bastard." We walked the pier after, arms linked, city lights reflecting off the water like scattered diamonds. He pulled me into an alcove, kissing me slow and deep, hands framing my face as if I were fragile. "Come back to my place," he murmured against my lips. I hesitated. My Airbnb was closer, but the pull was magnetic. "Lead the way." His apartment in Capitol Hill was a revelation. Exposed brick, bookshelves groaning under classics, a balcony overlooking the Space Needle's glow. We barely made it through the door before clothes hit the floor again. This time slower, savoring. In his bed, sheets cool against fevered skin, he whispered vulnerabilities, fears of being alone, the ache of loving too hard. I confessed my scars, the nights I'd cried myself raw after Mark. We fit, puzzle pieces clicking in the dark. Dawn crept in, and with it, a text on his phone that buzzed like a hornet. He silenced it quick, but not before I glimpsed the name, Cody. "Who's that?" I asked, propping on an elbow, morning light gilding his stubble. "Work," he said too fast, rolling away. "Client chasing a deal." I nodded, but doubt wormed in, a tiny fracture in the foundation. The days blurred into a whirlwind. I closed on the Elm Street house by Wednesday, Sean handling the paperwork with a wink and a perk of knowing the boss. We spent evenings there, painting walls eggshell white, christening rooms with laughter and limbs. Weekends were ours, hikes in the Olympics, where he'd hoist me over streams, stealing kisses mid-stride, dive bars in Fremont, belting karaoke to Tiny Dancer until hoarse. But Cody's texts persisted, ignored, then deleted, a ghost in our idyll. Sean brushed it off as a pushy colleague, but his phone stayed face down now, and late nights at the office stretched longer. I pushed down the unease, chalking it up to paranoia, Mark's ghost whispering lies. Then came the dinner party, 2 weeks in. I'd invited Sean's work friends to the house, our house, catered Italian from a spot in Queen Anne. Balloons bobbed in the foyer. Candles flickered on the dining table we'd scavenged from a flea market. Sean arrived last, tie askew, claiming a showing ran late. Guests milled, realtors in chinos, a couple from my new office, laughter bubbling like Prosecco. Then the doorbell chimed, and Sean froze, flute halfway to his lips. "I'll get it," I said, weaving through. On the porch stood a man my height, blonde hair tousled, blue eyes sharp as Puget Frost. He held a bottle of scotch, smile easy but edged. "Hey, you must be Alex." "I'm Cody. Sean's partner in crime." Partner. The word landed like a gut punch. I ushered him in, numb, watching as he clapped Sean on the back. Too familiar, their hug lingering a beat too long. Dinner unfolded in a haze. Cody charming the table with tales of closing deals in Napa, his hand brushing Sean's knee under the cloth. Subtle, deniable, but I saw. After plates cleared, as folks drifted to the porch for cigars, I cornered Sean in the kitchen. "Partner? What the hell?" Sean, his face crumpled, color draining. "It's not, Alex. Listen." The back door swung open, Cody filling the frame, oblivious or not. "Everything good in here?" Sean straightened, mask slipping back on. "Yeah. Just house stuff." I bolted then, mumbling excuses, rain starting up again as I grabbed keys. The drive was a blur, tears mixing with wipers, betrayal a bitter taste on my tongue. He called a dozen times that night, voicemails cracking with pleas. "It's not what you think. Please, come back." I powered off, curling into the Airbnb's lumpy bed. The house, our house, feeling like a tomb. Morning brought resolve. I texted, "Meet me at Elm Street. 10 a.m. We end this clean." The porch dripped melancholy as I waited, coffee steaming in my hands. Sean pulled up at 9:58, rumpled in yesterday's shirt, eyes red-rimmed. We sat on the swing, chains creaking like accusations. "Talk," I said, voice steel. He exhaled, long and ragged. "Cody and we were together 5 years. But it ended a year ago. Messy. He won't let go. Shows up at work. Crashes my life. I should have told you. God, I wanted to, but you were so fresh. I didn't want to scare you off." "Scare me? You let me fall." Sean. "Built this dream on lies." My throat burned, anger warring with the love that wouldn't die. He reached for my hand. I yanked away. "I love you, Alex." "Not him. This us, it's real. Give me a chance to prove it." Thunder rumbled distant, mirroring the storm in my chest. "How? Block him? Cut ties? Or is this just another listing you'll flip?" His eyes glistened. "I'll do whatever. Just don't walk." We sat in silence, rain pattering, until I stood. "I need time. Alone." He nodded, broken. "I'll wait." But waiting bred doubt. Days turned to a week, me crashing at the office, avoiding the house like a crime scene. Cody's Instagram stalked me, posts tagged Realtor life, cryptic hearts under Sean's pics. One night, buzzed on bourbon, I drove by Sean's apartment. His car wasn't there, but Cody's was. Rage propelled me up the stairs, fist hammering wood. Sean answered, shirtless, confusion morphing to horror. Behind him, Cody lounged on the couch, glass in hand, smirk curling. "Alex, you lying bastard." The words exploded, venomous. "This is proving it?" Cody rose, slow. "Whoa, easy. We're just talking." "Bullshit." I lunged, but Sean blocked, hands on my chest. "Stop. Please." His voice broke. "Cody." "Now." Cody laughed. "Low. Or what? You'll choose him over me?" Again, the pieces slammed together. The late nights. The shadows. Again, you cheated. With him. Sean deflated. It was one night. A mistake. Before us. I ended it. Alex. Swear. Cody's eyes narrowed. Liar. You came back to me last week. Begged. Sean's face twisted. No, I went to tell you to stop harassing me. That's all. Lies layered like onion skin, peeling to rot. I backed away, world tilting. I can't. This is poison. Alex. Sean's cry chased me down the hall, but I ran, elevator dinging like a guillotine. The climax shattered me that Friday. Offer rescinded on the house, too tainted. I packed for Ohio, tail between legs. But fate, that tricky bastard, intervened. A flat tire on I-5, rain sheeting, tow truck late. I sat on the shoulder, sodden, when headlights pierced the gloom. Sean. Of course. He pulled over, hazards flashing, sprinting through the deluge. What are you doing out here? Leaving? I spat, but my voice cracked. He dropped to his knees in the mud, grabbing my hands. Don't. Please. I cut him off, blocked everywhere, filed a restraining order. It's you, Alex. Only you. Tears mixed with rain. Why me, after all this mess? Because you see me. Not the realtor, not the ex. Me. He pulled a key from his pocket, the house key, engraved now with our initials intertwined. This is yours. Ours. If you'll have it. I searched his eyes, finding truth amid the wreckage. The storm broke then, literal and figurative, sun-piercing clouds in a rare Seattle miracle. I hate you, I whispered, but pulled him up, kissing him fierce under the downpour. Muddy, messy, real. We fixed the tire together, laughing through shivers, then drove to Elm Street. The porch welcomed us, swaying gentle. Inside, we rebuilt, walls repainted deeper blue, like trust reforged. Months later, fireflies weren't in the cards. Seattle's too damp, but we strung lights on the porch, grilling veggie burgers, Cody a faded scar. Betrayal had carved us hollow, but love filled the grooves, humanistic in its imperfection. Two flawed men choosing each other, day by rainy day. And in the quiet evenings, Sean's head on my shoulder, I'd whisper, "This is the story worth writing." The key turned in the lock with a satisfying click. But it was Sean's hand on the small of my back that grounded me as we stepped over the threshold. The house on Elm Street had sat empty for those agonizing days of my self-imposed exile, dust motes dancing in the slanted afternoon light like hesitant confetti. We'd left it half-furnished, echoes of our rushed passion still lingering in the rumpled area rug and the faint scent of takeout Thai from that first celebratory night. Now, felt like a canvas, blank but begging for strokes of forgiveness. Sean flicked on the foyer light, his fingers lingering on the switch as if afraid to let go. "I had the cleaners come through," he said, voice tentative, like he was handing me a peace offering wrapped in cellophane. "Figured we'd start fresh." I nodded, throat tight, dropping my duffel by the staircase. The tire fiasco on the interstate had been our rock bottom, a literal skid into vulnerability that forced the truth out like pus from a wound. Cody, his ex, the specter, had been a grenade with the pin half pulled, and in the heat of that rainy confrontation, Sean had finally disarmed it. Or so he swore. The restraining order was real. I'd seen the papers on his phone, stark legalese that made our chaos feel official, adult. But trust? That was a slower rebuild, brick by careful brick. We wandered into the kitchen, where granite countertops gleamed under pendant lights I'd chosen on a whim during one of our catalog-fueled makeout sessions. Sean pulled 2 beers from the fridge stocked, bless him, and cracked them open, foam hissing like suppressed sighs. "To second chances," he toasted, clinking bottles, his eyes searching mine for absolution. I took a long pull, the cold bitterness grounding. To not being idiots anymore. His laugh was relief, wrapping around me warmer than any blanket. We leaned against the island, shoulders touching, and talked. Not the surface gloss of real estate stats or weekend plans, but the marrow, his childhood in rural Iowa. Dad a stoic farmer who never said, "I love you," but showed it in calloused hands fixing bikes. My own fractured family. Mom remarried to a guy who treated me like an inconvenient boarder. Mark's betrayal had been the final fracture, but Sean was mortar. That night, we ordered pizza, greasy pepperoni, extra cheese, because romance didn't need caviar, and ate cross-legged on the living room floor, backs to the couch, a Netflix rom-com flickering ignored on the TV. His head found my shoulder midway through, and I didn't tense. Progress. Sleep came fitful, the guest room my bunker. But at 2 a.m., a soft knock pulled me awake. Sean stood in the doorway, silhouette haloed by moonlight, wearing nothing but boxers and uncertainty. "Can't sleep," he admitted. "Mind if I?" I scooted over, sheets whispering invitation. He slid in, body heat a bomb, and we lay there, not touching at first, just breathing in sync. His hand found mine under the covers, tentative, and I laced our fingers, the simple act of vow. Morning brought coffee on the porch swing, mist rolling off the evergreens like dragon's breath. Seattle stirred slow, joggers in neon, a distant ferry horn lowing, and we planned. Furniture first. A thrift run to Ballard for mid-century vibes, his eye for staging turning our nest into something lived in, loved. By afternoon, the truck was loaded. A tufted velvet sofa in hunter green, a coffee table scarred just right, bookshelves for my dog-eared Vonnegut and his pristine Hemingway. We hauled it all in, sweat slicked and cursing laughter, collapsing amid the chaos with high fives and a kiss that tasted of effort. That evening, as boxes unpacked themselves in lazy piles, my phone buzzed, a Seattle number, unknown. I ignored it, but Sean noticed, brow furrowing. Work, probably spam, but doubt niggled. Later, voicemail, Cody's voice, oily smooth. "Heard you're playing house. Careful, Alex." Sean's good at showings, not closings. I deleted it, stomach churning, but told Sean. Transparency, our new mantra. His jaw clenched, but he pulled me close. "He's lashing out. Won't touch us." We made love then, for the first time since the blow-up, slow, deliberate, on the new sofa, cushions yielding like forgiveness. His touches were questions. "Still want this?" Mine. Answers, "Yes, always." In the afterglow, tangled and sated, he traced the freckles on my chest. "You're my anchor, Alex. Don't ever forget." Whispers of normalcy wove in. My job at the software firm ramped up, coding sprints that left me bleary-eyed, but Sean was there with takeout and foot rubs, his real estate hustle sinking ours into a rhythm. We hosted a small barbecue that weekend, just 4 couples from the neighborhood, the lesbian architects next door, a bi podcaster and his husband, folks who'd eyed us at the farmer's market with knowing smiles. No drama, just char-grilled corn and stories swapped under string lights, Sean's arm around my waist like it belonged. But Cody's shadow lengthened. A week later, an envelope arrived, no stamp, shoved in the mailbox. Inside, photos. From that first night, blurry shots through the window, my shirt off, Sean's mouth on my neck. Stalker shit, violation in glossy print. My hands shook as I showed Sean, rage boiling. He called the cops that night, statement given in our kitchen, officers nodding sympathetically over lukewarm tea. "We've got a file on him," the younger one said. "Harassment pattern. Stay vigilant." Vigilant. The word armored us, but sleep evaded. We bunked together after, his body my shield, nightmares chased by dawn patrols, curtains drawn, doors double-locked. Fall deepened, leaves turning the streets to fire. We carved pumpkins on the porch, his a lopsided grin, mine a heart pierced by an arrow, cheesy, but us. Thanksgiving loomed, and I invited my mom, flying her in from Ohio. She arrived flustered, hugging Sean like an old flame, peppering him with questions over turkey he'd brined to perfection. "You two light up a room," she said later, washing dishes side by side with me. Mark never did that. Tears pricked. Sean's different. Real. She squeezed my hand. Hold him tight, kiddo. Love like this? It's rare air. But rare air thins. December brought the call, Christmas Eve. Actually, as snow dusted the sill like powdered sugar. Sean was at a holiday listing, me wrapping gifts by the tree we'd chopped ourselves. His voice on speaker, strained. Alex? Cody's here. At the office. Security's escorting him, but he knows about the house. The injunction. My blood iced. What did he say? A pause. Heavy. That he'll ruin me. Us. I drove through flurries to the brokerage downtown. A glass tower twinkling festive. Sean waited in the lobby, coat slung over arm, face ashen. He's gone. But he left this. A manila folder, fat with spite, forged emails, doctored timestamps painting Sean as the cheater, the liar, attachments to rival agents whispering sabotage. Blackmail? I breathed, flipping pages. He wants you to drop the order. Come back. Sean's laugh was bitter. Over my dead body. We burned it that night in the fireplace. Flames devouring lies. Ash swirling up the flue like exorcism. Curled on the hearthrug. Mulled wine warming our veins. We vowed. No more secrets. Weekly check-ins. Couples therapy if needed. Humanistic grit. Turning poison to purpose. New Year's dawned crisp. Us in flannel on the porch. Champagne flutes raised to the neighborhood's distant pops. To stories unfinished, Sean toasted, kissing me as fireworks bloomed over the sound. But unfinished meant vulnerable. January's gray tested us, my promotion stress, his dry spell in sales. Arguments flared, over forgotten chores, tone misread in texts. One night, after a slammed door, I stormed to the guest room, barricading with silence. Morning found him there, tray in hands, pancakes heart-shaped, coffee black as my mood. I'm sorry, he said simply, sitting on the bed's edge. We're in this, bumps and all. I took the fork, fed him a bite. Truce, always. Spring thawed the frost, literally and not. Crocuses pushed through mulch in the yard we'd sodded together, and with them, green shoots of normal. We joined a gay men's chorus, Sean a baritone rumble, me tenor waver, voices blending in harmony that mirrored our mending. Yet Cody's echo persisted. A court date in April, hearing for the restraining order's permanence. We dressed sharp, me in a suit Sean tied the knot for, and sat ramrod in the courthouse, his thigh pressed to mine under the bench. Cody slunk in late, eyes hollowed, lawyer droning defenses, emotional distress, Your Honor. No intent to harm. Sean testified steady. The texts, the photos, the terror. He broke something in me once. I won't let him touch what we've built. My turn. This isn't love. It's control. Voice firm, but inside, quakes. The judge ruled swift. Order upheld. No contact, or jail. Cody's glare as he left seared, but Sean's hand in mine cooled it. Outside, under cherry blossoms shedding pink confetti, we exhaled. It's over, he said, spinning me in a goofy waltz. Not over, I corrected, kissing him deep. Just the intermission. Summer sweltered in, unusual for Seattle, turning the porch into our oasis, hammock strung, mojitos sweating on the rail. We road-tripped the coast, Windows down, Springsteen blasting, stopping in Cannon Beach to build sandcastles laced with adult jokes. Nights in the van, stars wheeling overhead, his body arching under mine like waves. Back home, the house thrived. Herb garden bursting basil, dinner parties with the chorus crew, laughter echoing off walls we'd painted together. Betrayal scar faded to silver, a reminder not of pain, but resilience. One August evening, grill smoking with ribs, Sean knelt amid fireflies we'd imagined into existence with lanterns. Box open, simple band glinting. Marry me, Alex. Let's make this forever. Tears blurred. Yes. God. Yes. The party erupted cheers, hugs enveloping. Later, alone on the swing, rings exchanged. He whispered, "You saved me. We saved each other." And in that humanistic truth, flawed, fierce, enduring, our story crested, not climax, but continuum. The engagement ring caught the September light like a captured sunbeam as I stirred risotto on the stove, the arborio rice plumping under careful ladles of stock. Sean hovered nearby, chopping parsley with theatrical flair, his help more distraction than aid. Fingers stealing tastes, lips brushing my neck in between nicks. Our kitchen had evolved into a command center of domesticity. Chalkboard walls scrawled with grocery lists and inside jokes, windowsill herbs thriving under his green thumb. The house on Elm Street, once a blank slate of betrayals aftermath, now pulsed with us. Framed photos on mantels of coastal sunsets and chorus recitals. Throw pillows we'd impulse bought in Portland bearing slogans like, "Home is where the heart hides." "Medium rare or well done for the steaks?" he asked, waving the knife like a conductor's baton. I swatted his hip playfully. "You know me, bloody as my heart was when you proposed." He grinned, that boyish flash that still unraveled me, and pulled me into a flower-dusted spin. The ring white gold, etched with a subtle wave pattern evoking our beach trips, felt foreign yet fitting, a weight that anchored rather than burdened. We'd kept the news quiet at first, savoring it like fine scotch, but whispers spread through the chorus and my office. Toasts raised at happy hours with craft IPAs and knowing winks. Life, post-Cody's courtroom defeat, had settled into a rhythm both exhilarating and serene. Therapy helped, bi-weekly sessions with a counselor named Theo, a bearish queer dad type who probed our scars with gentle precision. "Betrayal's a thief," he'd say. "But you too? You're reclamation artists." We laughed at that, but it stuck, fueling date nights where we'd role-play first meetings, giggling over candlelit pasta as if the foyer fire had never scorched. Yet under the idol, fault lines simmered. My promotion to lead dev meant longer hours, code marathons that left me zoned out at dinner, fork midway to mouth. Sean, ever the hustler, landed a big commercial listing, a waterfront condo tower that had him schmoozing investors till midnight. "It's the break I need," he'd say, kissing my forehead before slipping out. "For us." The word carried our dreams. A joint account swelling for the wedding, vague talks of adoption down the line, a life woven tighter than the Afghan my mom crocheted for the couch. But distance bred doubt. One night, scrolling mindlessly, I stumbled on Cody's LinkedIn, updated, relocated to Portland, seeking new horizons. Relief washed, but so did a pang. What if he'd resurfaced? Whole, while we patched. I mentioned it offhand over breakfast avocado toast. His ritual. Saw Cody's profile. He's gone south. Sean's knife paused on the lime. Good riddance. But his eyes flickered. A micro-betrayal of unease. You okay? Yeah. Just closing the loop. He reached across the table, thumb stroking my knuckle. We're solid, Alex. Don't let ghosts haunt. But ghosts have long memories. October brought the annual real estate gala, Black Tie Schmoozefest at the Four Seasons, where Sean was nominated for Rookie Closer of the Year. I rented a tux, starched and stiff, feeling like an imposter among the Botoxed power players. We arrived arm in arm, his hand warm on my elbow, navigating crystal flutes and air kisses. The ballroom glittered, chandeliers dripping light like molten gold, jazz trio purring standards. Sean worked the room like a pro, handshakes firm, laughs calibrated, while I nursed a gin and tonic, charming when cornered but counting minutes till escape. Then, across the crowd, a familiar blonde head, Cody. Suited sharp, arm linked with a Silver Fox agent from Eugene, but his gaze snagged on Sean like a hook. My stomach dropped. Sean stiffened beside me, murmur low, ignore him. He's here with a date, legit, from what I hear. But Cody approached anyway, entourage trailing, smile all teeth. Sean. Alex. Small world. His eyes raked me, assessing. Congrats on the nod. Deserved. Sean nodded curt, arm tightening around my waist. Thanks. Enjoy the night. Cody lingered, date oblivious. Heard about the engagement. Bold move. To me, you always were the fixer. Heat flushed my neck. And you're still the wrecker. His laugh tinkled false. Touché. Just saying happily ever after some myth. Sean's got commitment issues longer than his client list. Sean stepped forward. Voice ice. Walk away, Cody. Now. Security materialized subtle, but there, and Cody retreated with a mock salute. But the venom lingered, souring the champagne. We skipped the after-party. Cab ride home silent, my head on his shoulder, his fingers combing my hair. In bed, shadows pooling, I turned to him. Was he right? About the issues? Sean sighed, pulling me close. I was scared once. Of losing control. But you make me brave. We made love fierce that night, reclaiming territory, bodies a bulwark against intrusion. Sleep came sound, but dreams twisted. Cody's face morphing into marks, accusations flying. November grayed the skies, mirroring my mood as wedding plans ramped. Venue hunt. A vineyard in Woodinville, vines heavy with Pinot, or the waterfront pavilion in Gasworks Park. Invites scripted in elegant sans serif. Guest list swelling with chorus kin and Ohio relatives. Mom FaceTimed weekly, cooing over cake samples, chocolate ganache, our vice. But friction sparked. Sean's listing closed big, commission check fat enough for a honeymoon deposit to Maui, but the hours bled into weekends. One more open house, he'd text. Me solo on the couch with takeout cooling. Resentment simmered, unspoken till it boiled over Thanksgiving prep. I chopped onions in the kitchen, tears real this time, when he breezed in late from a showing. Traffic was hell. Or was it Cody's old firm? The words slipped, barbed. He froze, apron half-tied. What? Saw the email. Their logo. You're networking with his circle? His face hardened. It's business, Alex. Bridges, not burns. Feels like walking a ledge. Voice cracked. I can't keep waiting for the other shoe. He untied the apron. Slow. You think I'm slipping? After everything. The argument escalated. Voices rising over the turkey's sizzle. Accusations flying like giblets. You're paranoid, he shouted. Cody's ancient history, and you're blind to red flags, I hurled back. Or maybe you missed the drama. Silence slammed down, heavier than the rain. He grabbed his keys. I need air. The door clicked shut, and I sank to the floor, sobs racking. Hours ticked. Dinner cold. Mom arriving tomorrow. At 1 a.m., the door creaked. Sean, soaked, eyes haunted. He knelt, gathering me. I'm sorry. The email was a cold contact, deleted it. No bridges. Just us. It clung, salt-streaked. I hate this fear. Me too. We thawed the bird at dawn. Hands brushing in reconciliation. Mom's flight landing to a hugfest that papered cracks. December twinkled frantic. Holiday chorus concert. Me in the front row. Chest swelling as Sean's solo in Oh Holy Night hushed the hall. Post-show eggnog at a dive. Toasts to the grooms-to-be. Warmth chasing winter's bite. But the real storm brewed internal. New Year's resolution. Premarital counseling with Theo. Digging deeper. Sessions unearthed my abandonment script. Mark's echo, and Sean's fear of engulfment. Cody's cage too tight. Vulnerability's the glue, Theo urged. We practiced. Nightly check-ins. I feel statements over wine. Spring bloom tentative. Cherry trees confetti ing streets. Wedding date set. June 15th. Pavilion reserved. Vows drafted in stolen moments. Mine promising to weather every gale. His to build, not break, yet climax loomed unbidden. May's mild days turned muggy, and Sean's phone buzzed insistent during a rehearsal dinner tasting. He silenced it, but I glimpsed. Cody again. Number spoofed. Block it, I said, fork pausing mid-bite. I did. Multiple times. Weariness etched him. He's obsessed. That night. Porch vigil. Us in Adirondacks. Stargazing sparse through city haze. What if he crashes the wedding? I voiced the dread. Sean pulled me onto his lap. He won't. But if he does, we face it. Together. Fate tested swift. 2 weeks out. An anonymous email. Grainy video attachment. Timestamped last fall. Sean and Cody. In what looked like Sean's office. Lips locked. Hands roaming. My world tilted. Betrayal's knife twisting fresh. Explain, I demanded. Laptop slamming shut. Voice arctic. His color drained. It's fake. Deepfake AI shit. Look at the shadows. They don't match. I scrutinized. Heart hammering, imperfections glaring, ear wrong. Voice off in the audio snippet. But doubt festered. Why target us now? Cody, he growled. Vengeance for the order. We forwarded to Theo. Then cops, cyber unit involved. Tracing IP to a Portland cafe. Confrontation brewed. Sean drove south that weekend. Me shotgun. Resolve steel. Cody's apartment was a sterile loft. Views of the Willamette mocking our turmoil. He answered smirking, but faltered at Sean's fury. You son of a... Proof, I interjected, holding up the phone with the trace report. Game over. Cody deflated, smirk crumbling. I just wanted him back. To hurt like I hurt. Sean softened, fractionally. You need help, man. Not this. We left him there, broken shell, driving home in cathartic silence. The video, debunked, deleted, a final exorcism. June 15th dawned flawless. Sun gilding the pavilion, sound sparkling like champagne. Chorus serenaded our aisle walk, Mom's tears flowing free. Vows exchanged under an arch of wildflowers. In flaws and fire, I choose you. The reception pulsed joy, dancing till dawn, cake smeared in laughter. On the porch later, guests departed. Sean and I swayed slow to phantom music. Our story, he murmured. Epic. Ha! I kissed him, ring clinking. And just beginning. Honeymoon haze lingered like the Maui sun on our skin. Bronzed arms entwined in airport limbo. Luggage carousel churning memories of black sand beaches and bioluminescent waves. We'd returned to Elm Street tanned and tangled. The house greeting us with a fridge restocked by the neighbors. Bless those architects. And a stack of mail that included, improbably, a congratulatory card from Theo. May your marriage be as resilient as your narrative. We framed it on the mantel, beside the wedding collage us mid-vow, eyes locked in defiant joy. Summer's tail end faded into a productive blur. My dev lead role stabilized, projects shipping smooth, affording me bandwidth for house tweaks, a home office conversion from the spare room, walls lined with dual monitors and succulents that Sean insisted purified the chi. He, flush from commissions, surprised me with a hot tub install on the deck. Bubbling jets under star-pricked skies becoming our ritual. Glasses of Pinot balanced on the lip. Bodies buoyant in forgiveness-forged intimacy. Marriage sharpened us. Edges honed but not hurtful. Mornings started synced. Him brewing pour-over while I journaled code ideas. Kisses traded over toast. Evenings unwound collaborative. Meal preps debating spices. He favored cumin's earth. I, paprika's smoke. Or couch collapses into documentaries. His commentary a running riff that drew belly laughs. But autumn's chill ushered introspection. October marked a year since the foyer fire, and over pumpkin ale at our local, the Alibi Room, we toasted the night it all ignited. Best listing ever, Sean quipped. Foam on his lip I licked away, patrons whooping good-natured. Deeper talks surfaced then, vulnerability's harvest. Cody was my cage. He confessed one fireside night, flames crackling confession. You, my key. I shared Mark's lingering shade, how his straight-passing facade had gaslit my gayness into doubt. You made me proud of it, I said, his hand in mine a talisman. Humanistic threads wove tighter. Volunteering at the local LGBTQ center. Sean mentoring young realtors on coming out in corporate climes. Me coding an app for queer support hotlines. Our story rippled outward, inspiring a chorus buddy to propose, another to seek therapy. Winter wrapped cozy solstice party with the neighborhood. Mulled cider steaming, ornaments handmade from beach glass. But beneath festivity, a quiet conflict stirred, family. My mom visited for New Year's, all warmth and pie baking, but Sean's folks, Iowa Stoics, religion a wedge. They know, he said pre-call, dialing from the kitchen. About us. The wedding. But pray for me. The conversation was stilted, pleasantries over pot roast recipes. Then a pause heavy as snow. We're happy, Dad. Sean's voice cracked. Wish you'd see that. Click. He hung up, shoulders slumped. I pulled him to the porch. Swing creaking solidarity. Give him time. Times what we don't have. Tears rare. Glistening. What if they never come around? Then we build our family fierce. Kiss soft. Promise sealed. Spring 2027 bloomed with ambition. Sean's firm tapped him for partner track. Relocation whispers to Chicago. Skyscrapers over rain. Bigger stage. He enthused over dinner. Eyes alight. For us. My gut twisted. And Seattle? This house? Our roots. Transferable. Dismissive wave. Adventure. Babe. Conflict simmered unspoken. Bubbling at a career fair where my firm scouted expansions. East Coast pull. We could go together, I suggested, but his maybe landed flat. The argument erupted mid-May, lilacs scenting the air like false sweetness. Packing for a chorus retreat, I found his suitcase half-packed for an exploratory trip. Chicago? Now. Stake my claim. Defiant. Before someone else does. And what about my claim? Here. Voice rose. This isn't just your ladder. He deflated. Bag zipping sharp. I thought you'd be excited. Growth. Alex. For our future. Future? Or your ego? Words weaponized. Regret instant. He left for the airport dawn dim. Kiss cool. Texts trickled. Safe flight. Love you. Mine curt. Break a leg. The retreat was a bomb. Voices harmonizing hurt into healing. Bonfires where I spilled to the tenors. Feels like he's slipping the knot. Nods empathetic. One shared his own near-miss divorce. Talk it out. Before the drift becomes divorce. Back home. The house echoed empty. Sean extended the trip. Networking gold. I wandered rooms. Fingers tracing memories. Scuff on the wall from our first paint war. Dent in the door from a slammed exit. Loneliness gnawed. Betrayal's old friend. He returned bronzed by Windy City winds. Arms laden with deep dish swag. Airport reunion awkward. Hug stiff. Cab ride small talk. Dinner at our spot. Waterfront bistro. Tried thawing. Oysters shared. But tension tart as aioli. Missed you, he said. Hand over mine. You too. Half-truth. But Chicago. It's pulling. He leaned in. What if we went together? New chapter. My fork stilled. And leave this? The chorus. The center. Our porch. We build another. Eyes pleading. Isn't that love? Adapting? Or running? Voice low. Loaded. From what? Boredom? Roots. Hurt flashed. From stagnation. For us to thrive. The check came, so did the chasm. Home silent. Bed a divide. Sleep evaded. Dreams of empty swings. Dawn brought counsel. Coffee brewed. I sat him down. I need Seattle. This life. But I need you more. Compromise. He nodded slow. Talk to the firm. Remote hybrid, half time there, half here. Test run. Relief flooded. And if it doesn't fit, then we pivot. Together. Smile tentative. Real. We sealed it with slow love on the kitchen floor. Sunlight slanting gold, recommitment raw. Reaffirming. Summer solidified. His trial months a blur of flights and FaceTimes. Us syncing via shared calendars. Date nights virtual till reunions explosive. The house held fort, me hosting center mixers. Porch parties pulsing with progress. Fall's harvest yielded growth. Sean's promotion landed. Chicago visits curtailed to quarterly. This is home. he declared over cider at the alibi, arm slung possessive. But life's plot twisted anew. November scan, routine, post-family history nudge revealed my prostate shadow. Biopsy, doc said, clinical calm masking my panic. Sean canceled a listing, held my hand through the needle prick. Waiting room vigil with bad magazines and bad jokes. Results, benign, but the scare scarred. In recovery haze, porch-bound, he read to me Hemingway's Islands, voice a lifeline. Scared me shitless, he admitted later, tears hot. Losing you? Unthinkable. Mutual. Kiss fierce. Makes everyday diamond. Winter wrapped us tighter, solstice with mom. Now including Sean's sister via Zoom. Iowa ice thawing drop by drop. His folks sent a card. Proud of you both. Small. Seismic. Spring 2028 greened with grace. We mentored a center kid. Jamie, 17. Outed rough, hosting him for dinners. Porch talks on resilience. You guys are goals, he said. Eyes wide. Humanism incarnate. Our story. Not endpoint, but echo. Yet climax crested subtle. June anniversary, 2 years wed, we revisited Maui. But en route. A call? Cody. From a Portland clinic. Relapse. His voice raw. The deepfake. Rock bottom. But your mercy? Spark. Sean listened long. Me ear pressed close. Healing's hard, Sean said finally. Keep at it. Hang up. Tears mutual. Forgave him, I whispered. Not forget. But free. Back on the beach. Waves lapping, vows renewed. Our tale turned full circle. Dramatic embers to romantic glow. Betrayals ash fertilizing love's bloom. The Maui sands still clung to our suitcase wheels as we rolled back into Elm Street's embrace. The house a beacon amid September's amber haze. 2 years married. And the porch swing, our confessional throne, bore new etchings. Initials deepened by weather's patient chisel. A testament to endurance. Unpacking unfolded leisurely. Seashell wind chimes tinkling from the balcony and stall. Luau leftovers reheated for lazy lunches. Sean's hybrid hustle hummed. Zoom calls from the office nook. Punctuated by in-person dashes to Chicago that now felt like visits to a fond aunt. Not a siren's call. Life's narrative had mellowed into a steady prose. Less fevered plot twists. More lyrical interludes. My app for queer hotlines launched to acclaim. Downloads spiking. Center testimonials pouring in like rain on the sound. Sean celebrated with a billboard mock-up. Harper Whitaker. Coding hearts. His design flair turning code into poetry. We volunteered more with Jamie. His transition to college a win we claimed vicariously. Dorm drop-off tears. Porch pep talks evolving to proud parent proxies. Autumn's palette painted conflict soft. Mom's health dipped. Ohio winter creeping arthritic. And flights home pulled me east. Sean anchoring Seattle solo. Go, he'd urge. Packing my bag with protein bars and notes tucked in socks. Miss your snore already. But distance whispered doubts. His late-night texts from bar happy hours. Laughter emojis with colleagues I didn't know. One November red-eye. Jet-lagged and raw. I confronted over FaceTime. Mom's hospital glow dim behind me. Who's Mia? The team player spamming your feed. His brow furrowed. Pixelated. New junior agent. Networking. Babe. Nothing. Looked cozy. Insecurity's edge. Sharp. He sighed. Screen shifting to porch cam, empty swing mocking. Trust's our foundation. Alex. Or what's the point? The call ended uneasy, reconciliation delayed by mom's chemo consults. Back in Seattle, December, snow rare and reluctant, we mended mid-solstice, him waiting at arrivals with mistletoe, kiss melting frost. Missed you, murmured into collar. Therapy with Theo unpacked it. Proximity breeds peace, he noted. Yielding a pact. Monthly us weekends. Phones off. World paused. Winter's hush birthed Bold. Sean's firm greenlit a Seattle satellite office. His brainchild, queer-inclusive training modules, his passion project. Groundbreaking in January, us in hard hats, shovels biting earth symbolic. Building legacies, he toasted at the after-party, arm around me amid power suits and pride flags. But spring's thaw unearthed old fault. Jamie called frantic, outed again at school, scholarship yanked by bigoted board. Help, plea raw. We rallied, legal consults, GoFundMe surging with chorus shares. But the fight drained, nights strategizing till dawn, sleep fractured. One April evening, post-meeting haze, Sean snapped over takeout cold. We're enablers, not saviors. I recoiled. And you're quitting? After vowing support. It's consuming us. Voice weary. When do we live for ourselves? The porch became battlefield. Swing chains rattling argument. This is living, fighting for what's right. Right? Or righteous. Hurt laced. I need you, Alex. Not the crusader. Silence stretched. Rain resuming relentless. He retreated to the guest room. First time since vows. Door soft shut, but seismic. Morning brought coffee truce. Mugs steaming on the rail. I'm scared, he admitted, eyes down. Of losing us to the cause. I nodded, hand bridging. Balance. We pull back delegate. But don't abandon. Compromise crystallized. Jamie's fund stabilized. Mentors assigned. Us reclaiming date nights. Picnics in Discovery Park. Wild salmon grilled. Whispers weaving dreams anew. Summer solstice marked pivot. We adopted a rescue pup. Bernie. A scruffy mutt with Sean's grin. Porch romps turning chaos to joy. Vacations veered local. Olympic hikes. Tent zipped against chill. Stars our canopy. Fall deepened resolve. Mom's remission rang bells. Ohio visit a jubilee. Sean's folks finally flying west. Awkward but earnest. Dinner on Elm. Turkey tentative. But toasts thawed. Dad's glad you're happy. Son gruff gold. Cody's coda came quiet. Holiday card. Clinic postmark. 1 year sober. Thanks for the push. Wishing light. Sean read aloud. Voice steady. Human. Ha! Forgiveness's gift, I replied, hanging it beside Theo's frame. Winter 2029 whispered legacy. My app scaled national. TEDx invite pending. Sean's office bloomed. First queer intern hired under his wing. But the true crest, adoption inquiry fostering a teen, echoes of Jamie's grit. Process grueling home studies, interviews probing our scars. Betrayal history? Social worker queried. Neutral. Sean squeezed my knee. Shaped us stronger. Approval came spring. A boy named Riley, 15. Guarded eyes softening over porch burgers. This your forever? He asked. Swingmates. Ours, Sean affirmed. All in. Climax. Then, not storm but sunrise. Riley's first pride. Us marching arm-linked. Rainbows riotous. Back home, deck strung lights, Bernie chasing fireflies we'd coaxed with jars. Vows renewed impromptu. In every chapter, I choose you, sealed with cake smush and laughter. Years folded forward. Riley to college. Us empty nesters traveling. Italy's canals. Japan's blooms. Elm Street sold eventually. Proceeds seating a center wing. Harper Whitaker Haven. Retirement porch sits. Swings creakier. Hands veined but laced. Best story. Sean murmurs. Head on shoulder. Mine too. I whisper. Sunset gilding us gold. In that humanistic arc, dramatic dives to romantic rises. Betrayals bite to enduring bite. Love proved not flawless fairy tale, but flawed, fierce epic. Worth every word.